Thanks for joining us. Now, first-year students of Joppa Senior High School in the Upper West region commute almost 3 kilometers daily from one campus to the other to attend classes. They always get to their class tired and sleepy. Teachers also come to class late, and teaching is truncated anytime the teacher has to attend nature's call. Here's Rafiq Salam's report.
Right from its establishment some 23 years ago, the Joppa Senior High School has not been without challenges. Key among them is its infrastructure. Classrooms, dormitories, and other facilities are really inadequate. Even though the relocation of the school to a new site, almost 2 kilometers from the old site, has not changed the situation. And this infrastructural gap has been deepened by the increase in the number of admitted students through the free HHS. 495 new students were placed at the school by the computerized school placement system, increasing the total population to 1,164. Saboro Salima is a first-year student of the school. On daily basis, she walks at most 3 kilometers from the new campus to the old one to attend classes.
We the general students, we are suffering, so we have to move from here to the west campus. So by the time we get there, we are almost tired. So when the teacher is in class, some of us will be sleeping. So the teachers are always complaining about their sleeping. And our preps, because the classes is there, we don't have classes to observe preps here. So we have to observe our preps in the library. And yet, some of us will not get places there, so we have to observe them in the dining hall.
This is a difficult situation. These children get really tired before they start classes. Tiredness can be a real thief of classroom concentration. When this happens, academic performance gets seriously threatened.
We pity our boys. Every day they will walk 35 minutes up, 35 minutes down, just to dress up, then come back for preps. When we close from preps, 9:30, by 10:30 something, they will go down there. Then when they get down there, they will sleep. They will not get enough chance to rest. Then they are up here again. You see most of them sleeping in class just because they are tired. Government, they should just come and help us.
Headmistress of the school, Mary Assumpta, lamented that enough infrastructure was not put up at the new campus before the students were moved there.
Once it was started down there and they moved up here, there has not been provision of enough infrastructure to bring all the students up at once. And that is why some are still there and some are up here. But we are hoping that the government will come to our aid, put all the needed infrastructure at the East Campus, and move students from the West Campus up, so that we can have a one type of schooling system.
Senior housemaster of the school, Ambulai Kalistus Bayo, says the situation has also made teaching and supervision of the students difficult at the school.
The West Campus, that is where all the boys are resident. And on daily basis, they have to commute from the West Campus to the new campus to attend both classes, dining, and any other educational program that we have on campus. And so it is actually very, very difficult, particularly in the nights when we have entertainment. The masters on duty have to run down there to go from room to room, and sometimes when you are going, because even down there it is not fenced, so they run into town. So it's actually very, very difficult. And sometimes we have to go around to conduct roco. So when they realize that the master is coming, they run into the bush. So it's actually a challenge, seriously, for us.
Another worrying development at the school is a lack of toilet facility for the boys. The situation has forced them to attend nature's call on a hill, who serve as an abode for reptiles and snakes. Zenipo James is the senior prefect of the school.
When you are pressed, you cannot do it in the class. So we have to to hide there to free ourselves. So the fear that anything could happen to us, that one will always leave it to God.
Our camera captured this first-year student, Bayo Abdul Gafaru, who has to abandon a program at the school's dining hall when he had a stomach upset and decided to run to the hill to ease himself.
Yesterday, always, if I went there, I always saw him there.
So you still don't have fears that you still continue to go there?
I have fear. I have fear. So that they should come and give us the toilet.
Headmistress Mary Assumpta says it is becoming increasingly difficult to run the school in the face of the complex challenges. According to the headmistress, the teachers and workers on the campus have to improvise every day in order to have effective teaching and learning. The school has several uncompleted projects dotted all over the campus.
Our appeal as a school is that government should come to our aid, fast track the completion of our projects to help us have enough infrastructure for our students to ensure that smooth academic work is going on, to help our students to also compete favorably with students elsewhere who are privileged to have very good infrastructure.
The situation in this school is similar to many others I have seen here in the Upper West region. Though school authorities hail the free HHS policy, their praise is almost doused by the enormous constraints they are forced to work within. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Joppa.
Still watching Joy News today. We'll soon be taking you back to the Job 600 building because the minority breakfast meeting, that is a discussion on the 2018 budget and economic outlook, is still ongoing. Now we have been hearing the minority give a damning verdict of the NPP government's management of the economy over the last 11 months, claiming it has failed to deliver on major promises. At a budget preview forum in Parliament House, like you just heard me say, minority spokesperson on finance, Kezela Tuforson, mentioned the one district, one factory, one constituency, $1 million and free SHS as some of the failed promises in the 2017 budget. The minority is predicting there will be severe austerity, equivalent to that of 1983 in Ghana next year, because of the NPP government's poor management of the economy over the last 11 months. Minority spokesperson on finance, Kezela Tuforson, says the banking sector is in distress and won't be able to provide finances to ensure job creation, and this will lead to the austerity. Let's go there live.
And the NDC administration, nobody can run away from this. In fact, I remember in Parliament, and the former chairman of the Finance Committee can bear me out, when we laid the finance agreement to this Parliament, the previous administration criticized it. In fact, they held press conferences and criticized it that the PLG for the Sankofa field, the ENI investment, was overly securitized to the extent that they didn't want to do it. We pushed it through. Today, we could attract $7 billion worth of private sector investment into the oil sector. That is what is driving the growth today. That is what is driving the growth. So the NPP cannot even take credit out of the growth that we are projecting today. They are boasting about. So please, our words is that, please, NPP, stop making noise out of 8.9 and grow the rest sector. That is where the jobs will come from. And then let me take you to the next question on the impact of debt on the economy. I think it's an important question. Yes, we are projecting that the debt to GDP by end year will be about 150 billion Ghana cedis, representing about 76.8% of GDP. In fact, the baseline will be 73.4, 73.6. And we expect that the energy bond and that of the UT bank bond. I'm surprised that nobody is asking questions on the UT bank bond and capital bank bond. We'll also add something extra, so the debt to GDP will be 76. What this simple means is that instead of the state using tax revenue for the purposes of driving investment, we are using that to service the debt. Because of somebody's reckless management, the state is paying for it. Okay? Because of somebody's reckless way of doing business, you and I, we are being deprived from investment in education. We are being deprived from investment in healthcare. We are being deprived for investment in infrastructure. that would drive the private sector and bring the growth. So the economy will be constrained to a large extent. And that is why I'm raising the concerns that, yes, they've made their point, but this is a critical issue, and the debt situation, a time will come, the debt will be so heavy on the economy that we will not be able to deal with it. Finally, I think I'll leave it there and then allow my colleague, Honorable Fifi Kweti, Honorable Adongo, to answer some of the questions. And then Dr. Kanyini plus my good friend John Jenapo will deal with the issues of the electricity. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, government is to set up a new university as Bonsu in the Brong Ahafo region that will specialize in agriculture and agro-entrepreneurship on hand, as well as have a school of engineering and technology on the other hand. Ministry of State in charge of tertiary education, Professor Kwesi Yanka, said in selecting the school, governments took into consideration a pre-existing hub of agriculture-related institutions that can network and transform the location into a formidable research triangle and center of excellence. Professor Yanka made the announcement as the 18th graduation of the University for Development Studies in WA.
The University for Development Studies Vice Chancellor, Professor Gabriel Ayumtai, did not mince words on the stringent measures put in by the university to avoid needless deaths of students through road crashes.
We are still enforcing the use of crash helmets before you enter any of our campuses. And this is a warning to my security officers. Already I've caught a number of them disobeying this rule. Sanctions will be swiftly applied if you are caught riding a motorbike on any of our campuses without a helmet. We want to stop attending unnecessary funerals.
Turning to uncompleted projects in the university, most of whom are funded by the Ghana Education Trust Fund, Gov't Fund, Professor Tay pegged the number at 44. He said the university on its own has been able to complete some projects through its internal generated funds and appealed to the government to complement their efforts by speeding constructional work on its funded projects for use by the university.
Actually, we have lots and lots of projects scattered all over the 4 campuses, over 44 uncompleted projects everywhere. The first thing you see when you enter any of our campuses. Honorable Minister, we are pleading with you to help us complete some of these projects. We are trying in our own small way to do some, which I will list here. Upgrading water system in Nyampala and Tamale. We have upgraded our internet bandwidth from 155 megabytes to 1 gig. Completion and finishing of lecture halls funded by Bank of Ghana is ready for use or is being used. We are also completing a lecture hall just behind us here in WA, all this from IGF.
Minister of State in charge of tertiary education, Professor Kwesi Yanka, announced that the government will soon open a new university that will specialize in agriculture and agro-entrepreneurship on one hand, as well as have a school of engineering and technology on the other.
Government seeks to build a university at Bonsu that will specialize in agriculture and agro-entrepreneurship on one hand, as well as have a school of engineering and technology. In selecting Bonsu, government took into consideration a pre-existing hub of agriculture-related institutions that can network and transform the location into a formidable research triangle in a center of excellence.
He, however, was quick to state that the opening or building of universities by the government is not to win votes.
This government, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is not interested in building universities simply for votes, or for that matter, thanking supportive constituencies with the universities and conversely denying constituencies of facilities and institutions as sanctions for votes that have been thrown away to other parties. The government will continue to encourage the setting up of universities whose courses and programs respond to the nation's strategic needs and developmental priorities.
A total number of 2,338 students comprising diploma, undergraduate, and postgraduate students graduated from the WA campus of the University for Development Studies. The remaining 3,024 students from Tamale, Nyankpala, and the Vorongo campuses of the university are expected to graduate within the next 2 weeks in Tamale and the Vorongo respectively. Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Now we stay in the sector because the Institute for Educational Studies, IFES, is asking governments to, as a matter of urgency, complete the remaining 158 community day senior high schools started by the Mahama administration. This, they say, will help bridge the infrastructure deficit, which has been compounded by the free senior high school policy. Executive Director of the Institute, Peter N.T., anticipates the greatest challenge Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will face when he presents the 2018 budget and economic policy on Wednesday is the balancing of this need for infrastructure and the recruitment of 20,000 teachers as promised by the Education Minister. Peter N.T., however, believes it will be prudent to expand infrastructure at all educational levels, especially tertiary, to prepare for the increased numbers coming from the SHS system. He joins us on phone to make his point further. Thanks very much for your time, Mr. Nti. Why do you say that this is one of the biggest challenges that Mr. Ofori-Atta would face?
Thank you very much. I think over the years we have witnessed a practice in the education sector where we use... Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on it.
All right. I think over the years we have witnessed a practice where in the education sector, we spend almost 95% of the total budget allocated for the sector to pay salaries and wages. Now, in spite of this, there are other areas within the sector that we still have to spend money on. Implementing the free SHS have revealed to us that there is a lot to be done in our secondary education in terms of infrastructure. So we are looking at a government who intends to add to the number of teachers that is already choking up the education sector budget, at the same time trying to solve the problem of infrastructure that has involved the implementation of the free SHS policy. So we think that this is a very interesting balance that the Minister of Finance would need to address, because in as much as that we believe that a lot of teachers that we need to employ, we also think that it is going to be very important if we continue to build provide infrastructure needs of the secondary schools by completing the E-block, by starting the model schools that the MPP promised, the 42 model schools, and also providing other resources that will enhance teaching and learning in the secondary school.
Mr. Nti, let me just ask this simply. Do you think it will be possible to focus on all these sectors that you speak of, paying extra teachers, building more infrastructure? Would it be realistic?
As for it being realistic, I can say yes. I can say yes because the money to do some of these or all of these things might be available. But as we indicated in the write-up, you see, there are other sectors who are also competing for the same resources. Now, if the government is so much committed into doing this thing, he'll be able to do. But the end result will be that other sectors will also suffer.
Now, in the media budget review, the finance minister said that they failed to meet their revenue target for the year 2017. Would it not be simplistic to say that the money is there?
No. The money to do anything government decides to do is available. The point is that there are a lot of sectors competing for the little money that the government is able to get. And the government needs to satisfy all these sectors so that at the end of the day, they all come to the table. That's why I'm saying that we can decide to take all the money that we get and fund education, the core in the global sphere now. However, the other sectors are going to suffer. So what we are thinking is that there should be a fine balance between recruiting these teachers and also dealing with the infrastructure needs of our education, not only at the secondary school level, at the tertiary level too, and at the basic level, as we have also stated.
If you were to pick one for governments to begin with, which one will it be?
Ideally, the government should address the problem of infrastructure that we have identified during the implementation of the free SHS.
Right. Thank you very much, Peter Inti, for your time. He's the Executive Director for the Institute for Educational Studies. We'll take a quick breather. When we come back, there is more news. You're watching News Today. Thanks for staying with us. Now, nearly half of all the food produced in Ghana does not make it to the final consumer, according to a 2014 study. The situation has implications for the country's food security. In the following report, Joy News' Justice Bedu travels to the Brong Ahafo regional town of Amankwa Krom to tell the story of how bad roads are standing between food at the farm gates and the markets.
This is the road that leads to Amankwa Krom. It's a small farming town of about 500 people in the Techima North district of the Brong Ahafo region. This 5-kilometer stretch is one of many things standing between farmers here and the market. 70-year-old Joyce Farr is one of those farmers. Her 5-acre cassava farm was ready for harvest months ago. She's unable to harvest because no car can come here to convey them.
The road is deplorable. Look at me. I'm old and weak. We can't do anything about the road. It's government's responsibility. During the dry season, cars use the road. But when it rains, no car can come here. We can't harvest. And when you do, you lose everything.
Huge amounts of food like this heap of cassava here continues to go waste in many parts of Ghana. And yet this is a country where nearly 1.6 million people are at risk of hunger and malnutrition. And in many cases, like it is here in Amankwa Krom, it's usually because there's no way to move this from the farm gates to the market where they are most needed.
And this is one of the places where cassava from villages like Amankwa Krom are needed. A gari processing factory just miles away, employing close to 200 women. But work here is slowing to a halt because they just can't get cassava supply.
We can't get cassava due to bad weather. And when it rains and we get good harvest, the cars can't convey them here because of the roads. This factory employs many people, but it is almost empty now. We can do more with a good supply.
The tragedy of post-harvest losses in Ghana is not just with the food that is wasted, but also with the economic opportunities on the agricultural value chain that this country would never realize. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Amankwa Krom in the Brong Ahafo region.
To the Ashanti region now, where health experts have cautioned the public against killing suspected rabies-infected dogs for food. Bonsu District Director of Health, Mr. Dr. Moses Barima Jemete, says such tendencies hamper investigation into deaths caused by rabies. Prince Apia has more in this report.
On that fateful day at Pramso in the Bonsu District of the Ashanti region, 15-year-old Agric Kojogbadievi's dog behaved in an unusually strange manner. It attacked and bit its owner, who paid little attention to what he considered a minor scratch with potentially grave consequences.
Now, a baby 3 days in
For 3 days, the dog refused to eat. I came back from school one of the days. The dog was aggressive and bit me. Unlike Eric's small physical wound, 5-year-old innocent boy Kevin Bedu suffered a deep cut close to the knee as the dog virtually tore his skin off. The dog bit Kelvin when he came to our compound on an errand. The dog was acting very unusual and aggressive. I recaptured the dog into its cage. Before we realized, it had damaged the cage and had died in the process. 35 incidents of dog bites have been recorded as at the end of last month, when reported cases for the whole of 2016 stood at 72. Dr. Berema Jamate laments in most cases owners of aggressive pets kill them on the blind side of health authorities. He says that makes it impossible to have saliva samples for rabies tests in the laboratory. Health officials await lab results from the roasted head of the dog as little Kevin continued to receive treatment at the St. Michael's Catholic Hospital. 31-year-old father Kwakumenu is worried. Since Wednesday, my son has not been in school because he cannot walk. That is my worry. Prince Apia reporting.
You're still watching news today. Let's take you to the northern region where Geoffrey Buta is a household name, especially within media circles in Tamale and other parts of that country. Now, going by stories of his basic school days, he has always been active and nothing dims his enthusiasm. Not even the narrative on his transition from the south to northern Ghana takes the shine out of him. Gifted with an artistic mind, Buta studied photography at Tema Technical Institute to add professional and business touch to what started as a hobby. Now a regional correspondent for state-owned Ghanaian Times newspaper, the 32-year-old is guided and inspired by a strong philosophy. Passion never pays bills if it is not made into a business.
When the self-taught photographer Geoffrey Buta began taking photographs, he was so broke that he had only less than 20 Ghana cedis to his name. More than 3 decades down the lane, he is one of Ghana's most in-demand photographers, landing jobs from big organizations.
Photography is unique to me. I think I'm really passionate about it, and it's like, it's all in all. It's easy to capture people's stories, for people to see the reality of what is happening. To me, it gives me the voice for the voiceless. It helps me to tell people's stories, for people to help them. So to me, it's not really about the money aspect of it, but it's just to help people through what I do as a photographer. If we are covering wedding photography, it depends on your kind of clientele. So if the list, I'll be taking like 2,000, 1,500 every weekend. I think that is cool. And when it comes to NGOs, especially the international NGOs, you may be charging either in dollars or in CD, equivalent in CDs, which is very passionate.
Buta tells me compliment from clients of how fresh, different and innovative he is about his work keeps him going. By 10:30 in the morning, Buta is here to teach communication studies students at Tamale Technical University.
Buta is one of the lecturers that will teach you, and you wouldn't feel like the class is bored, and you would not, there's nothing to miss. When he's teaching you, you feel like, you know, he teaches from experience, and so he sees it, then you feel it practically. When he's saying it, you just feel that, oh, this man knows what he's talking about. And
I can say among all my teachers, all my lecturers, he teaches me and I understand very well. Very practical, not theory, but very practical. So even though I don't have a camera, but I know how it works and how to go about it.
Journalist of the Year by the Ghana Journalists Association was in 2012. And that same year, within 2 months, I won Best Print Journalist for National Road Safety Award, which was organized by the National Road Safety Commission in Accra.
He is founder of Buta Photography, a growing brand in the northern region capital, Tamale. It doesn't matter how great of a photographer you are if you are not able to live off your craft. For Buta, it is all about changing the narrative at the end of the day.
I wasn't so worried about it. When the camera got spoiled the following day, there was another incident I need to go and cover, so I have to pick another camera and move all day to shoot. So basically, when it comes to journalism, those are some of the challenges you'll be attacked because you are using a camera. Basically, camera is like a weapon. It's like a gun on a battlefield. Anytime you see a photographer with a lens, a long lens, it's basically like a gun. So you're going to face those challenges.
Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
All the best to Mr. Buta in future endeavors. Now, mental health care facilities in Ghana are few. The Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Ahafo and Pantine hospitals are the only referral hospitals in Ghana, thereby leaving a big gap to be filled in terms of spread and quality. Now, public attitudes towards mental health has led to a situation where families hide mentally ill persons indoors for fear of stigmatization, neglect, attribution of mental illness to spirituality, and the general lack of concern for mentally ill persons. In our latest Hotline documentary airing tonight, Richard Kojonyaku explores the complex issues in the management of mental health in Ghana. Here are excerpts.
A hacksaw blade cuts through a chain that held the legs of over 30 people here at the Jesus Divine Temple Prayer Camp at Nyankumasi Ahinkro in the central region of Ghana. They've been here for years. The church is sited at the heart of a big forest. Most of the patients were chained to a tree by the ankle. They were not supposed to be close to the regular worshippers, so that their point of confinement must be several meters away from the central place of worship. Hospital records show many of them are suffering from schizophrenia, but at the center, each of the inmates is considered possessed by the spirits.
Keep mute. Famam. No. Like on how? This is how they say I'm crazy. So me, I'm frank and free. I don't have a father. My father has passed away. Mori, please, this is not the first time. You know, my wife is from Mori. I'm a stranger. I've worked, and my mother is from a building at Mori Johnson, which he has passed away. And my father.
Kwesa Buaje is one of the men who've been in chains for years. He looks unkempt. His trousers and shirts have not been washed for years.
I collected my state pension pay, which is about 200. I spend it on my children and maybe 50 million for a car so that I can keep the home going. The money got lost in the room, so I suspected my wife and children. I was sitting in my sitting room, policeman. I should come.
So police people blocked you?
Yes, from Mori.
Policemen?
How? This is how they say I'm crazy. So me, I'm frank and free. I don't have a father. My father has passed away.
Kwesa Buaji narrates how he ended up being tied to the tree. On a recent visit by the chief psychiatrist, some of the people tied to the trees glared, while others slept or muttered to themselves. A few wobbled and made wild gestures, their cries piercing the still air. It was like a bird out of a fowler's snare when the team arrived to remove the shackles from his legs.
Well, there were nights I could not sleep. I would shiver throughout. And my mom was by me, you know, and she goes to church. There will be a part of her that believes it's spiritual. So she will try to solve the problem. And there was men of God that came to our aid that offered these things. You know, let her drink this, something in a Baltic bottle with so many things inside. I don't know if it's, you know, you get to a point, you know, you've studied biology, you know, at least you should know the components of what you are taking inside. And you do not know. I was crazy at that time, but once in a while I come to my consciousness and I said, I shouldn't be drinking this. It smells nasty, it tastes nasty, and I'm supposed to take them.
Catch Noises in the Head tonight at 6:30 on the Joy News channel.